everybody? Welcome to another exciting episode of The Extraordinary Men. And today we got a whole plethora of extraordinary men.
Yes, sir.
Panel, introduce yourself.
Michael Midas Merritt, as always and forever, will be host on the show.
Marvin Coleman. Super awesome dad day. Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Cooling with the fellas. What's
Yeah,
good?
got dad duty after this, man.
And look, we're about to Pokemon it out for him a while, boy.
Yeah, go up here. Man is like real big into Sonic now. So go up there and watch that with him.
Yeah.
So as always, I'm Phil Jones or Mike Jones, however you know me personally or professionally. And thank you all for tuning in to another exciting episode of The Extraordinary Men. And I would like to give a special shout out to one of my biggest supporters here at the show, my Aunt Evelyn. Happy birthday to you. She never seems to miss a sit in. So I definitely want to make sure to give a live shout out to one of the dopest people on the face of the planet. Enjoy your birthday. Coming live from Orlando, Florida, all the way to Phoenix, Arizona.
Word.
So
Happy
today,
birthday from Indiana.
Anything from Indiana. Let me stop. So let's get right into it. So we have had a lot of talk behind closed doors about our generation. This is a common conversation. You can call it barbershop talk if you want, however you see it. Our generation is very unique. And what I mean by our generation, they would call it Generation Y, millennials, whatever. The reason why it's such a unique generation is because of the fact that we were given some of the greatest gifts known to mankind. We were the last generation that was outside. And by outside, I mean we had outdoor activities. We did everything. We did not sit in the house all day, every day. Relentless Mikey, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
We literally broke every rule that there was to break. We grew up in the age of technology. We watched technology rise. We watched it change into the thing that it is. We literally were the ushers between the old way and the new way. Guys, let's talk about some of our experiences coming up from the 99 and the 2000.
One major thing for me is the trust that our parents had in us, because we didn't have cell phones and shit. Even when pagers came out, like, we didn't have phones. Like,
We didn't have pages either.
wasn't no
The adults did.
wasn't no AirPod tracking us, none of that. When we was gone, we was just fucking gone. And that's just what it was. And we listened and didn't go past certain boundaries. And when we did push them, somehow they found us sometimes. And if they had to come looking for you, you knew what it was. You know? So it's like, that's a major thing for me. All these kids got phones now. It's like totally different. I tell my kids, go to the store. I know exactly where they are. I can look on my phone and see. If they get snatched in a van, I'm going to watch the van pull off and chase it, you know? They didn't have them opportunities. We was just gone, dog.
But you know, the thing, a big difference was the fact that, and I can only speak for us in certain ways, we were a lot more street smart. We were raised to know, look for certain markers, be aware of what's going on in your surroundings. When you see certain sketchy activities, go to the other side of the street. You know what I'm saying? It's like when we went outside, hop on your bike, we knew we wasn't going where we said that we was going, and we was everywhere, anywhere, but we knew already that it's like, I'm gonna holler at y'all later, I go do it, and got up out of that because we knew what was going on already. So we wasn't with it. We wasn't with it.
And now they're like victims in horror movies. Let's go check it out. Let's go see what's going on.
Want to see a dead body?
Hey Marv, you know what I'm saying, to your point, Marv, I think what helped out with that trust factor was the fact that, you know, it was more community based back then too. So
yeah,
you could live on this side of town, and your homie could live way on the opposite side of town. Everybody still knew each other, and everybody was looking out for each other.
yeah.
Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? I know you know my cousin Bo. Like back then, like the way we grew up, you was able to just walk in somebody's house and just, hey, what up, mama? What's happening? Like everybody's mama was mama. Everybody's dad was dad.
And they could all
So,
whoop you
and they could all whoop your ass.
too.
You know what I'm saying? So
And
it
then
was
you,
totally different.
because if somebody else had to whoop you, mama was gonna trip.
Yeah.
Cause she gonna be even more mad that you embarrassed her out in the street.
Now
Yeah.
they'll
Yeah.
chase you down and fight you for touching their kid. Believe it. And you go to jail. They got all type of shit going on now. It's totally different.
You know, I was sitting there thinking of the way that the school system dealt with us. I remember there was a point in time where if you got in a fight, you didn't get suspended. They pulled you to
Yeah.
the side and they actually tried to mediate the situation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Down and discuss it. My first fight, my best friend now. One of my Marcus. That was my first real fight, 5th grade. They did exactly that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
crazy.
school
Yeah.
was more tailored
I
to a.
don't think. So. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that it's like from my recollection, and of course, you know, hindsight is 2020. It appeared like the. I know y'all remember back in the day there used to be
Used to be a
so
what?
a teacher's aide.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you had a teacher, and then you also had a teacher's aide to be passing out basically the assistant. Like the teacher was not overwhelmed when she had a class full of 30-something students because
Right.
you had helps, had somebody that was there during the class periods to help you facilitate. Sometimes the teacher's aide be more ruthless than the teacher.
Yeah. I didn't even know suspension even existed until high school.
Yeah, high
Never
school.
even heard of it until high school.
Yeah. Well, middle school when they had.
I never got suspended in middle
I didn't.
school.
I saw other
None of
people
that.
suspended, so I knew it existed because I saw.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? But I got suspended for the first time in high school. But that was. And then they had in school. They still have in school suspension though, where they put you down in the.
mm. Yeah. See, that was high school, and it was like a dungeon for real.
Definitely.
And you walk down the stone steps. The walls was made of stone. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, man. I mean, and you know what though? Look at the difference between what the teachers got to deal with. We didn't have TikTok challenges making us do stupid shit in high school. We didn't come up with no drink the vinegar challenge and start earling all over. We didn't do shit like that. We wasn't stupid like that.
Bro, when
Gener-
we had the phones,
They're stealing cars because TikTok said it, bro.
oh, there's still a car challenge.
That's why now you can't get insurance on a Kia or the other one that they got on the hot list. You can't even get insurance.
Really?
Yeah, Google it right now. Mike, you know you're gonna fact check it. Look it up right now. That shit
You
is crazy.
cannot insure a Kia?
Yep, a Kia
Hold
if
up.
it between
I'm gonna look it up too.
what is I think it's 14 to 19. If it's a 14 to 19, they will not, or 16 to 19, something like that. They won't insure it no more. Because of a TikTok challenge taught them how to start the car with the end of an iPhone charger or Android charger.
Yeah, this was just one day ago.
I'm trying to tell you,
Yeah,
bro.
some car insurance companies have stopped covering the Kia due to the high amount of thefts.
Yep. These kids knows.
Hmm. The entire state of Louisiana is ineligible to cover that car.
Do you hear me? Because of a TikTok challenge, you know, it's affecting the world.
Well, you think
China,
Hmm.
the TikTok that they have is totally different. Even though it's a Chinese thing, you would think that it's more crazy there. No,
This article says,
all the kids have to watch is on TikTok in China.
according to NerdWallet, if an insurance does cover it, your rates is through the roof.
sounds like I'll be buying a Toyota.
Because of that.
No, but so I want to get into some like real
Oh yeah,
specific things.
that's another one. The Tide Pods. That's a huge one.
Yeah. fucking
But I
crazy.
want to get into something specific.
All right.
I want to get into something specific, just because I want to make sure to maintain the flow of the conversation. When we were kids, from something that you guys seen, because we all have children. You know, my daughter's a teenager. I remember when I was her age. So at 14 years, things that I was into at 14. I remember the things that we were into as a community at 14.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We went out to
And
football games. We had all type of shit going
Oh
on.
yeah, yeah. Lived at the
It,
football
it
games.
was fucking lit and still complain.
I
Yeah,
mean, when I sit
Uptown
in, I
had the
look at
family
it.
fling and all that. Hell yeah.
I mean, when I look at it, and like you really, really delve into it, and you think about the major differences between what you see today and what you saw back then, like what are some of the key things that set aside what we used to do and what was socially acceptable to do, and this generation now. One thing that I will say is that I believe that this generation, although it's statistically safer, is a lot more fearful of everything.
Because it's a lot more to be scared.
Like what?
Like just the digital shit they got going on. Do you remember the Momo shit? We didn't have to deal with no bullshit like that when we was kids. The shit that came on YouTube and it had
Mm-hmm.
Momo telling the
Teaching kids to slice open their wrists and shit. Yeah.
telling them, and if they tell their parents that they gonna come kill them in they sleep, my daughters couldn't fucking sleep behind shit like that. Like me and Midas had to mask up and act like we went out and killed him. We masked up, grabbed the guns out the house, and walked out like we finna go kill this motherfucker. And then we came back like, yeah, we killed him. He dead. It's all good. Y'all ain't gotta worry about it. Daddy got y'all. Woo woo. That was the way we had to get them to do that, bro. Like that shit crazy. My parents never had to do shit like that. Even if we saw Candyman and was scared, like shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll be all right. That
Yeah.
shit had the daughters like shaking, scared. Then they was actually you had kids that actually did it, went and put the fucking fork in the electric socket and fucked themselves up. Like there's shit to be scared of now that we didn't even think of when we was young. You got motherfuckers pretending to be your age, tell you to meet you at the park and then snatch you up type shit. They didn't do shit like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, well, once back
It
when
did.
Back then, Yahoo.
That did happen.
When Yahoo chats and all that was popping. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the chat rooms. Yeah, those things was
Yeah.
happening in
The
our
the,
yeah,
the
generation.
old
that's where
school.
it started though. But now it's a whole nother level. Like that was chat rooms, age, sex, location. Hey, woo,
Right.
woo.
ASL. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we had community where the people looked out for motherfuckers. Now people just trying to keep
Mm-hmm.
it on their phone. They're not looking out no more. Back then, if you got snatched in the van, you probably had Miss Shelley and their husband and all the people down the street chasing that motherfucker. Now,
That's true, Rob.
no, bro. It's all this fucked up. And shout out Big Rob. Thanks for checking us out, man. Definitely the homie.
Um. To answer your question, Mike, you saying something that we need to bring back is what you saying?
No. I'm saying specifically if you could pinpoint differences between what we're enduring in the driver's seat as the parents versus what we experienced when we were coming of age. What are some of the major things that you see that are different between then and now?
I think there was a total shift in bullying. I think bullying is what actually built character. It made you stronger and tougher in the world. It prepared you for hits and downfalls, and you get back up and you fight again. Uh, we are extremely soft today.
Yeah. And by bullying, we
Yes.
flipping you upside down and putting your head in the toilet type shit.
No,
We
that's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about.
got roasted. Motherfuckers roasted people. And that shit was,
Yes.
and it wasn't fun for the person who lost, but he won sometimes. And it was
Yeah.
cool. You know what I'm saying? Even go home crying about that shit and kill yourself. They got a whole fucking show that was good as hell. 13 Reasons Why. About motherfuckers in high school killing themselves over notes and shit that went around. Do you know how many lists went around high school, bro? We didn't kill
Yeah,
ourselves.
when we was coming up, yeah.
I was on the
Yeah.
list, bro. I did not kill myself. I swear to God, it didn't happen.
So what you're saying is that
That
you
shit.
think that our experiences helped us develop character and self-esteem.
Yeah, we wasn't bitch.
Yes.
We was not
Yes.
scared of like when I grew up. If somebody goes fuck, I'm not gonna cry about it, bro. Like, so what? That shit happened.
I think we were in back then. We were in a position to actually build thick, tough skin, and
And we knew about work. They don't even want to work now.
yeah,
Made
build tough skin and work ethic.
technology made them lazy. We were not connected with the Xbox, like you said. Like we weren't able to talk to each other on the Xbox and shit. We was
No, if you wanted to play with your homie, you had to go to their house. You had to get up.
yep.
You were not. You couldn't be lazy. You had to
In
get up, ride your bike, go to the crib, and then y'all could play the game together.
And then through those little things, more human contact, which lets you come up with a better
Right.
way how to judge and meet people and how to talk to people and how to deal with people.
Right.
Because you've been walking through the neighborhood dealing with all these different families from different backgrounds, and you've learned
Mm-hmm.
all these new people, and they all call you son and you all call them mama. So you learn all these traditions, learn how to be respectful in
Yep.
different households and settings. They don't have that. They talk on the game and they sit on the game all fucking day, being somebody that they not, and to somebody who's being somebody that they not.
What do y'all think about influencer culture?
Cool. Human contact.
It's a positive and a negative. It's a negative because it's it's building this I guess this type of ideology that you don't have to really go out there and work for real. You can just sit in front of this camera right here and you can just rake in millions. And not to say that somebody can't, but that's the narrative behind, you know what I'm saying, being an influencer. I ain't gotta work for real. I ain't gotta put no pants on. I could just put a shirt on and play Apex or whatever and I can rake in millions. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So the actually building a real life worthy skill set is completely out of the window. I is what I'm seeing
I
in
mean,
today's generation.
how many of y'all ever heard
Say that
when,
again.
when we were growing up? How many people you ever heard say when they asked, "What do you want to be?" They said they wanted to be a streamer. How many
That's
did
true. That's
we?
true.
Well, when we were growing
I
up, it
mean,
didn't exist.
it
It
didn't
was. It
exist
wasn't.
then.
It wasn't even a option. It's like
Right.
at this day and age, like to Midas's point, you had this stream of income is new because if you remember, like the celebrities would be wearing clothes or wearing the different brands, and we would see them in the magazines or we would walk around with the Coke or the Sprite. Like we was talking about with the Britney Spears example the other day. The celebrity was walking around and they were the focal point for sales and products. But the rise of the social media influencer for advertisers to go through in order to get their products and services out to consumers. So it's like, why would I pay Jennifer Aniston $30,000 when I can pay the social media influencer $5,000 and they got a million followers too?
Right.
So it's like it wasn't necessarily a thing back then. However, like most things, it's just kind of like, okay, well, when people wanted to rap, musicians and stuff, it's like everybody mama thought they wanted to rap. And majority of people just jumped on it. It looked easy until everybody came to the realization, wait, this is real work.
It's
Just
real
like
work.
us building the channel right now. This is real work. It requires hours on end, a lot of studying, a lot of reevaluation, a lot of taking time to determine what kind of content you're going to use, how you're going to go about it. And I think that the younger generation is a lot more savvy than us when it comes down to this. But they lack life experience to know that there's certain nuances to this, to where you have to dedicate more time to get out of it what you want. It's not a, if I'm not instantly successful, then I just give up and quit.
Yeah.
That's one thing I noticed about this generation, is that if they're not instantly good, on to the next thing.
Yeah, there's no sticking it out. There's no drive to see it through and push through it. Instant gratification is like big on the list for what I can see this generation. I have to win immediately. I have to win right here, right now. I have to see results right here, right now.
Those are conversations I have with my daughter a lot, to where I will see her spend hours on end on these different apps, trying to learn how to create YouTube videos, learn how to create these, what they call tweening or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's all great and good, but she'll get this down and won't touch it for months until she sees something that inspires her, and then all of a sudden now she's spending hours on end doing it again, and it's just like this. It's like you never push through to get to the other side. It's always I move when I'm inspired only type deal.
Right.
And I don't know if that's a good thing or if that's a bad thing. I don't know if that's indicative of the
I
fact
don't
that
either.
the way that we
I
raised.
don't either.
I don't know if it's the fact is like if that's how we raised you, because you didn't have to go out here and go and learn it the hard way, or because you have the luxury of knowing that you have time on your hands. I think that the younger generation, honestly, is a lot more emotionally, they understand the emotions a lot better than we do. They're a lot more open about it, and they're a lot more emotionally intelligent than us. But I don't think they know how to deal with them, because again, that lack of experience.
Yeah, and I think that, I don't think that the way you raising her is, any less effective, anything like that. I mean, that's what you're supposed to want. You're supposed to want to. We talked about it in another podcast, the leg up and all that. But the real life experiences, that's kind of gonna have to come from her end. You know what I mean?
So one thing that you did mention, and it's like when I was a teenager, I remember I used to remember everybody's number. I used to
Yeah,
remember all the
we
phone
had
numbers.
to. We had to.
And even more so than that is like, before I didn't get my first cell phone, so I was like 16, 17, somewhere around there. But even before I had that, I remember that age to where you after school, you talk to your homies about where y'all was gonna meet at. And you knew what time you're gonna meet them. You go home, you hurry get your homework done so that you got everything that you need to get out the way. And y'all know exactly where to meet, exactly where to find them at. It's like, I think we lost a lot of that. Cause now, because of all of this here, sometimes I can't remember people's names. You have all of this information. I mean, all of it at your fingertips. And it's like you can't retain anything.
No,
I feel
I'm
like
bad with names too. I could remember a face
I've ne-
though.
I don't know. It's like I think that technology for some of us has made us complacent. I think it actually crippled us in a lot of ways. I think that we're now in a situation are incapable of remembering because we subconsciously know that we don't have to. I think that we've had to go back to archaic methods of dealing with things like writing stuff down. That I don't know if there's like some some symbiotic nature between putting stuff on a piece of paper and just the writing it out. But I know if I type it out, as soon as I send that message, it's gone. I got information I typed into this phone. It's in the graveyard. Like there's things 2, 3 years old sitting in notes that I said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna come back to that one day." One day still ain't came.
Right.
Sometimes I'll accidentally stumble upon an old idea. Like, when did I write this?
I mean, you right, Mike. You know what I'm saying? Definitely gotta, well, not gotta, but you right about how it puts us in that state of mind that we don't have to remember anything. Then again, it kind of helps us as well because it can lock in the memory for us. Oh man, you know what I'm saying? Instead of now instead of carrying business cards, you can just snap a picture of a business card, and then when you go through your reel, you can remember, or the phone remembers that you took that business card. Oh, now I can call this person to get my cameras installed and all this and that. So I mean, yeah, I see the plus and the negative of it.
So, do you think that technology is probably going to be one of the biggest hindrances or one of the biggest helpers going forward? Because I feel like when we had to be more hands on, it just made us work harder. It made us want more. It made us it felt. And anybody that's out in the crowd, anybody that's watching this right now, if you seeing this, I would really enjoy your input on this because as somebody who grew up in the era to where we watched the evolution from the pager to the iPhone 14,
Hmm.
we've lived through all the eras. We lived through the era of the last era of the rotary phone, the corded phone to the dial-up phone, I mean to the cordless phone.
Right,
We
all of
we've
it.
lived we've lived through everything.
And a lot of
We've
people
lived through
think
all.
technology is like old, like it is young. Like technology is only like 25, 30 years old. Like it's not that old at all.
Well, in I mean in tech terms, yes. The proper term for old in tech would be obsolete. I'm not gonna pick
Right.
up a Nokia phone and yep, especially house phones.
Hmm.
So like I'm not gonna pick up a brick Nokia and think that I'm pretty sure they don't even have the ability of those things no more.
Probably not because they ran off. You know what I'm saying? Back then, you had EV, radio waves and 1X, 1G. You know what I'm saying? So that stuff, it couldn't talk to the network anyway. But we didn't answer your question. So you said something about the hindrance.
Yeah, do you think that technology going forward is gonna be a hindrance for the young people?
No,
Because they're
and
it go ahead.
no, because specific, and I'm only saying this based off what that individual is going to do. So everybody is always going to be resilient, or I ain't gonna say everybody, but a lot of people are still going to be resilient. A lot of people are still going to want to learn. A lot of people are still going to want to be hands on, get saying bust up their knuckles, get dirty. You got a lot of people out here that's still going to want to do that, especially when it comes to particular occupations that require you to be that way and to do all that. I don't think it's going to be a hindrance for those people. It's going to be a hindrance for people that 100% solely rely on it, such as an influencer. If the internet was to die right here, right now, what skill set does the influencer have to fall back on to go out there and still get a check? They can't fix a car. And again, this is not everybody, so please don't think that I'm clumping everybody into one thing. Can't fix a car, can't put up drywall, can't do a roof, can't you can't do nothing. It's solely just this camera, these lights, and this laptop or desktop. That's what I'm saying. Those are your skill sets. It's going to
No,
be a
safe to say
hindrance
that
to those people.
safe to say that I think that that's also plays a lot into our generation too. Because so to your point, it's almost like every generation has their and what I mean by this is there was that period of time to where we had people who they wanted to be athletes and they wanted to be musicians and they wanted to be that they wanted to be all these grandiose things. And after years of not achieving in those things, their youth is gone. for the where they had the strength and the physical ability to really get down into things and the resilience that they may have had to go to school or to learn something or learn a skill or learn some level of trade. And now that they're in this age bracket to where it's like, oh crap, I need to figure it out. You think there's going to be a similar thing this next emerging generation?
Yes, it's always going to be there because at this point, it's safe to say that there's always going to be new emerging technology, new, better, efficient ways, and all this and that, and relearning a new way of doing this and relearning this software. And then you're the same way that our older generation is now, whereas I don't mess with that at all. I ain't into that at all. I don't want to learn that at all. That newer generation that's already into technology is going to be the same way because now it's newer stuff and they don't want to learn the newer stuff. So it's going to be a revolving cycle.
Now, I'm gonna ask you this, and I'm gonna ask very specific because of the fact that this is the age to where the technology is predominant. Do
Hmm.
you think that AI is possibly going to catch a lot of the younger generation by storm
Yes.
because of the fact that we didn't have to worry so much about AI to make money? And because of our life experiences, we kind of see the writing on the wall. To those who are not tech savvy and those who are not into tech in some way, form, or fashion, IT, do you think that there'll be more people in trouble in this newer generation when it comes down to how they're going to earn a living than it was in our generation?
Yeah, because like I said before, a couple times actually, is that moving forward in the future when it comes to all this technology and AI and everything, first I'm gonna answer the first one, which is do I do a is AI gonna be a predominant thing? Yeah, because you now have this new application out now, and I can actually see a lot of people using this app for those that are very introverted. A lot of people that are extremely lonely and things of that nature. That you can create an AI friend now via your phone. You know what I'm saying? You just load up the app. I don't know how the app works, but I would assume that you actually tell the app what type of personality you are, and then it matches you with an AI that's already pre-built or preloaded and can learn you, and it becomes your virtual friend. And anytime that you need something or you need somebody to talk to, boom, you can load up that. Um, you got a lot of companies that rely heavily on automation where we'll use Amazon for example. They got a lot of robots inside of their warehouses that make sure that they're track of where the inventory for a specific product goes, making sure that the proper shipping label and all that. There's human interaction there for sure, but majority of it is all AI. Um, Down to where Amazon has their Amazon Fresh supermarket. That is 1000% ran on AI. There's not a single employee there. You just walk in, get what you want, and walk out. So yeah, AI is definitely going to be huge. It's here to stay. And now going back over into the second part of that, where you were saying about people, I guess uh, what's going to happen to them. I guess it's getting down to the point where, like I said before, you have no choice but to become an engineer. Anything and everything dealing with technology, regardless of the occupation that you're in, you need to learn some type of technology, whether it be coding the robot, whether it be debugging the robot, whether it be building the robot, whether it be transporting the robot. Some type of you need to have your hands on some part of that technology portion that's dealing with that AI, that's dealing with that robot, that's dealing with that technology. Period. We're moving into where you people are being forced to be technical engineers,
You
coders,
know, it's,
programmers.
so it's funny that you speak on that because one of the most reoccurring things that we have conversations about outside of the podcast space is the fact that when we were coming up, you didn't have the automated tellers. It wasn't as like the ATM was about as sophisticated as it got as far as self-service stuff. Now it's like you go into almost any major grocery store chain and you have one or two employees that are policing those self-checkout lanes in the
Mm-hmm.
Walmart, in the Publix, or in whatever grocery store chain is wherever you guys are. And then you go into the McDonald's or into any fast food restaurant, and now you have automated kiosks to order your food on in replacement for having an actual human body there.
Mm-hmm.
And you start looking at this and you see the future happening right in your face. That is not necessarily going to be as easy to go and get a job and say, hey, I'm going to just go and find me a low skilled job and go and just embed myself and work myself up as a supervisor, manager, whatever. There is a technological revolution that's going on right in front of us. Now, I think that one of the gifts of the younger generation is they may adapt easier because it's in their era. It may have came and started in our era, but it's been perfected in theirs. So this may just become like second nature and innate to them by and large. But then on the back end of that, what does that say about us and our generation? Because some of us are 40, some of us are dinosaurs, unwilling to adjust. How much longer do you have before our skill sets are ultimately transit? Before what we know how to survive, before we become the new coal miners and the new factory workers? How much longer before the millennials are affected by that part?
I mean, there's no actual set time or date. First of all, Tiger, is that Tiger Tank Man?
Yeah,
Yes, this channel we talk about various topics. We're not niche specific. We talk about a bunch of various different man topics. So if feel free to drop an idea that you want to discuss, or something's on your mind, anything you want to talk about, go ahead and post it. But yeah, we talk about various topics here. Um, as far as the dinosaurs and everything, you ever heard of the story called "Who Moved the Cheese"? I'm live, baby. Okay.
yeah, I heard of the story, but for those who haven't, that's on the live.
Okay.
Go ahead and put that out there.
I'm live. So all right, so the story about who moved the cheese, basically, that's where the whole term "stop hemming and hawing around" comes from. So him and haw are actually two people in this story. So basically, what him I said I'm live, baby. So basically, what him and haw would do is every single day they would go to this particular spot because they know that the cheese is there. Well, what they're not realizing, they thinking that life is good and everything is good because every single day that they wake up and go there, there's cheese there. So what they so happy that they not paying attention to that they eating up all the cheese because in their mind that cheese is always going to be there. So when Ha started coming to the realization that the cheese is dwindling, like we finna lose all this, he starts venturing out, finding another source, aka finding the new occupation or finding where the money moved to. He went to go find a new location for the cheese. Well, Ha found it. The money is over here in technology. We need to, you know what I'm saying, this typewriter that you stuck on, dude, they got wireless keyboards over here. Like this is the future. So him is so stuck in his ways is that he's steady stuck over here where the original cheese was, and the pile is just getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller to eventually there was nothing left. So Ha was a good guy and left him breadcrumbs for him to follow to come over to the new pile of cheese. So that's the story of who moved the cheese. And that relates to life because people think that they think constantly just being stuck being a steel worker when we now have new compounds and new plastics and new materials that's just as strong as steel and it's cheaper than steel and we can build bridges, we can build skyscrapers and don't need steel. But you still think we need steel and we don't. Cars today don't barely use steel. It's small amounts of steel in a car. Most of it is aluminum and plastic. So I forgot what your question was though. But that's the story of him and Ha.
Hold on. In the words of The Rock, it doesn't matter what my question was. Great observation. Great observation. You know, it's like I am so compelled to look at our situation as far as society is concerned, society's outlook, and how it's going to be effective for the young people today. I do feel that one of the most important things that we have to look at is the fact that life is ever evolving, and whether or not we truly understand it, whether you're in the sticks of the Midwest or Appalachian country, or you're in a big booming metropolitan city, wherever you are, what has to be understood more so than anything else is that you're gonna have to adjust. And what I mean by adjust is there's textile companies. You may be into designing clothes or doing certain things, or even how we code websites. Now you're in a place to where it's like there's no code websites. You can go to Wix, you can go to
Bubble.
I mean, insert title here. There's a charge that people have done where they did all the hard work for you. And all you have to do is cut and paste whatever it is that you want to personalize it and put it out there. And you don't have to sit down and do endless days of coding and send it off to somebody. You don't have to learn or know it. But there's a charge for basically it's like they perfected the idea of creating a convenience fee for what you don't know. So hey, you don't have to go and
Or not
stitch
willing to do.
or not willing to learn, not willing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So hey, you want to get stitched in your jackets, certain type of stitching, certain type of threading. You can send it to us and we'll do it and we'll charge you this much per garment. And all you have to do is make up the cost by transitioning that price to the consumer.
Correct.
So where if I did the work myself, if I had a denim jacket and I wanted to stitch a logo in it, stitching that logo may take me by hand, and now I want to charge by the amount of craftsmanship I put into it or whatever have you. It's inefficient. But then for me to send it off to this company that can mass produce these things and can bang out a couple of these designs every hour versus what would take me 2 or 3 days to do, and you tell me an additional $5 per one of these if I mass produce it, okay, cool. All I got to do is now charge $7 additional to the customer, and I can make up the cost and some profit. But it's the convenience tax for what you either won't do or what you don't know how to do. Sadia Crawford, what up, man?
You just spit Printify's business model.
I mean, it's not a secret. It's not a secret at all. I mean, you have to understand something. Like we're using Restream right now to stream through multiple social media platforms. We're doing it right now.
Right.
So to run my mic and to run my camera and everything through a conduit program that allows me to stream into multiple social medias at the same time, I'm paying a convenience fee for it monthly. And in paying that convenience fee monthly, the hopes is that you monetize, and then in monetizing, you'll be able to earn back what you spent.
Right.
I mean, what's any different than you going to go buy tools to go to work? You go and buy a specific kind of drill because it'll make the job a lot more efficient. It's a lot easier on your wrist. You get the job done, and you know that the easier you can produce, the more efficiently you can produce, the more money you stand to make, which is going to ultimately cover the cost of what you invested in that particular tool.
101.
Same concept. Same concept.
101. 101.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, for anybody that's in this chat that's between the ages of 40, we literally have had a very interesting upbringing. And in that upbringing, a lot of what we have experienced has been predicated on the fact that as we get older, we start to get a different level of understanding about the way that life works.
Mm-hmm.
We try to talk to the younger generation, whereas we didn't want to hear anything because we thought we had it all figured out when we were the younger generation. We didn't know how much time we had available to us, but we thought that we had a lot of it. We sit here and we look at life from the perspective of 37, 30, 40, 35. We start looking at life and saying to ourselves, man, time went like that. And then you get to that place to where you have to start reeling it in to start making your life more purposeful, make it have more meaning, because you start to recognize how finite life is. So this is where I would throw a little piece of advice. And it's like, I also would like anybody that's in the chat that is listening to this, if you had a piece of advice that you could donate to the next generation based off of what it is that you have experienced in this lifetime as your ascension into adulthood, like into near 40s, what piece of advice would you pass on? So Midas, I'll start with you, and anybody in the chat, feel free to drop it in the chat and we'll read it out loud. But
I
Midas,
think
you
the
go ahead
best
and start.
piece I think the best piece that I can give is basically bouncing off the story that I told about, who moved the cheese, is you have to be adaptive and you have to be open-minded and receptive to new ideas and new possibilities. If what you got going on is working for you, fine. That doesn't mean it's going to work forever. Oh, and I think I kind of remember that question that you was talking about, the low skill level and things of that nature. So basically low skill levels is coming to an end too, because when I was in Vegas, they have this machine, a robot bartender, and the robot makes your drinks. It was pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it cuts the bartender out, but think about it. You only got to just pay for your drink, and you ain't got to get extra and tip. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't trying to sound bogus or nothing, but that's extra money now that you get to keep to, buy something else or add towards another drink. There's also a restaurant out, and I believe even McDonald's possibly is starting to roll these out as well. And there was this company that actually put up an IPO uh, to invest in them, that they produce basically robots that can flip burgers and drop fries. So we are definitely moving into a world and a society where a human being involved in that occupation will be very minimal. And I believe Henry Ford said that the factories of the future will be ran by uh, robots, a dog, and one human. And the human is I think the dog is there to be the companion for the human, or something along the lines of where the dog is there to make sure the human doesn't touch the robots, or something like that. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's something along the lines of that.
You
I think
know,
the human's supposed to guard the robots, and then the dog is supposed to make sure that the human don't touch the robots or something like that.
so controversial question. Do you think that are getting away from a society that values person to person interaction.
Say that one more time.
Do you think that we're getting away from having a society that values person to person interaction?
Yeah, because I mean, with the rise of dating apps, Match and swipe left and right and all that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. We're becoming less and less interactive. We're becoming more and more superficial. Right now, we're judging people based off pictures, a profile pic, you know what I'm saying, a tweet. You know what I'm saying. So yeah, the we're judging people's whole entire existence, their being, their character, based off minute things. So yeah, interaction is definitely becoming obsolete, and the fact that I mean that we could speak in the dating. I mean, it's I can listening to a lot of these podcasts. It's getting harder to be able to interact because either this side is too masculine or this side is too soft, and you ain't good enough, and you don't make enough. So yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like it's really going down a path that it shouldn't be.
So I'm gonna go ahead and read this comment out here. Find yourself, know thyself, trust thyself. Experience is the best teacher, but always seek wiser counsel because someone has already been there and done that. Practice makes better practice.
Hmm.
You said a mouthful in there.
Mouthful, yeah. That.
That was actually a lot of good stuff. You see, you notice she didn't practice makes better practice. Makes more
Right.
efficient. Practice makes efficiency. Doesn't make perfect.
Yeah, that's why I never follow that whole logic that knowledge is power. Knowledge is potential power. It's the movement that gives it power.
So if anybody else have any wise words they would like to bestow upon the next coming generation, throw it in the chat as we speak. We'll make sure to read it out loud for those who are tuning in to hear it. I think that what's going to happen is that we're going to get so far away from tradition that we're actually going to regret that the new rebellion is going to be a secret society to where people come together. I believe organized religion is going to collapse. I believe that social interaction is going to be such a not normal thing. And it's funny how like the Middle East and stuff is demonized for the way that they do things, but I do think that we're actually heading more toward a society like that than we are more free. So I believe that you give people so much freedom that the only cure freedom will appear like it's absolute solitude or absolute control. I don't think people realize that you give so many freedom. Like when you chip away from the checks and balance and you take away structure, it only leads to anarchy. What happens to anarchy? Anarchy requires borderline dictatorship to quell it. And I think history is going to repeat itself at some point in time. It may not happen in our era, may not happen in our children's era, but I do think that at some point in time it's going to be so free that and then it's going to all have to be shut down one band at a time. Because what happens when it's too free? You get an opinion, you get an opinion, you get an opinion, you get an opinion. Everybody can be whoever they want to be, however they want to be it. And what's going to happen? Nobody's going to be able to stick together. Nobody's going to be able to see eye to eye. Everything is going to quell out of control. And before you know it, the only way to bring it back in is by force. I pray
I
that
think
I'm wrong.
I think that I kind of foresee the future looking like Wally. You ever seen Wally?
Yeah, good show.
So Wally and I don't mean like the post-apocalyptic, you know, whatever, you know what I'm saying? What a the
Post-apocalyptic.
yeah, the buildings all crumbling and the cities is all, I ain't talking about that. But as far as the people, you know what I'm saying, everybody was floating around in these chairs. Everybody is like beyond lazy. Uh they don't walk, they don't do anything. They just float around in these chairs and the robots handle everything. And they're just extremely obese. If we keep going about that we going, I kind of see the future looking like that.
The exercise influence will make sure that that doesn't happen. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we're coming to the closeout of today's show. Thank you
Hmm.
all for tuning in. I know we were a little late today, had a couple of technical difficulties, but as always, we aim to deliver. Thank you all for tuning in. And I will definitely say for those who are subscribed to the YouTube channel, thank you guys for taking the time to subscribe to it. Thank you for those who are checking out the content religiously or in passing. And we hope to make sure to continue to get you here. What we decided that we were going to do is that the clubhouse portion of our podcast, we're going to the side and we're going to focus more on building this engine up and bringing more topics. If you guys have concepts that you want us to talk about or delve into it or research and give certain levels of opinion on, or if you actually want to come up and be a guest on the show at some point in time, be able to feature, speak your opinion, and introduce a topic to the show, by all means, reach out at any moment's time. Facebook at Michael Jones or Facebook at Michael Merritt. You can
Hmm.
hit me up on pretty much every other social media at Phil Jones. That's Twitter, Instagram, uh, what's that other one? TikTok, whatever have you. You can also hit up Midas. You can hit up any member of the Extraordinary Man, or you can come directly to the Extraordinary Man Facebook group, which is
Hmm.
the Extraordinary. Just come in there, drop your comments, leave a message there if you want to come on up. By all means, we're inviting all men to be able to come in and have conversations. If we have conversations that transition between genders, then women are allowed to come up to come and have conversations with us. This is a pretty inclusive network. And again, we thank you guys. Midas, you want to add something to it?
No, that's it. Please like the channel, like, like, share, subscribe, click the bell, and try to, help us build this. If you like what we got going on, if you think that what we're doing is beneficial, can help men, we like I said before, we talk about a bunch of different various topics, whether it be talking about the future or politics or finances, real estate. We talk about a lot here. And there's a lot of resources in the Facebook group as well. So if you think that this is a great place and our network needs to be huge, it ain't gonna be huge without you. So, and this channel isn't for us, it's for you. So like, share, subscribe, click the bell.
And if you want that smoke, thanks, guys.